Witherstorm mod, which is one of, if not the hardest singular entity to defeat. However, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe, and without further ado, on to the tutorial. So, first off, of course, our main objective is acquiring a withered nether star. Dying during the death animation, I don't think counts. So, as long as you can pick this thing up right here, you have succeeded. Make sure that you have the mod installed, as in, get yourself a copy of CurseForge, and then a copy of Cracker's Witherstorm mod, make sure both versions sync, and then generate a new world. If you're seeing one of these structures at exactly 00, you have the mod correctly installed. And, well, it's a pretty simple structure. I recommend getting all stone tools, or just a stone pickaxe and axe, and scanning the area. If you see a village, or a lava pool, then take note of it. If the village is within around 200 blocks, go and collect it before summoning the storm. Because the storm will follow you while you're raiding the village, and then that will just lead to your death. So, keep note of all landmarks in the area. If you see a lava pool and have access to iron from a nearby other structure like a shipwreck, set up your portal and then summon the storm. Before you summon the storm, of course, once you have everything set up and you think you're ready, you need to come up with a checklist. Fortunately, through my hundreds of runs, all in hardcore mode, I have determined what things you definitely need. You need at least 2 suspicious stew, 2 golden apples, I'd recommend getting more, a stack of iron from the nether through bartering. Raiding bastions will get you golden carrots, otherwise get cooked pork chops, 2 strength 2 potions for the symbionts, a lot of ender pearls, get a stack of them, crossbow, 2 stacks of arrows, and from the Witherstorm house itself you can get 48 books, which you should use for an enchanting table and its corresponding bookshelves. But main objective, get 4 TNT, 8 gunpowder, and 4 blaze powder. Once you have these goals in mind, then you can finally summon the storm. So, accidentally doing that. Summoning the storm will cause a lag spike because it's generating the bowels dimension for the final phase. But once that happens, you have 50 seconds to get away. Do not kill any animals on your way. Take the path of least resistance, so oftentimes water. If the storm catches up to you, then for the most part, you're done for. If you have successfully gotten away, the storm will just hang around and suck up blocks for the next 30 minutes. There are a grand total of about 9 different phases, or 7 technically, and what you want to know is this is phase 0. Phase 1 is identical, just has a little bit of black mass on it. Stage 2 will have 1 track to beam head. Do not approach it during this phase. It is the most dangerous phase, I'd say. Then it'll cover up the command block completely, and that's your signal that your time is running out. And for reference, here's what happens if your time runs out and you're still in the overworld. So the command is pretty complicated for making any Witherstorm do anything per se. So just keep this in mind if you're just here for creative mode. You must set the limit to 1. And here's what happens if you wait too long. You don't want this in the overworld. If you see this thing, you must run. If you have not gotten to the nether and you see this, it will be accompanied by a scary noise, and you will have about 10 seconds, well 20 to hide. Just instantly dig straight down and try finding lava. If you spend more than 8 minutes while this thing is around, then you are just doomed. You will get wither sickness, and your best bet is to literally just restart. If you stay still for too long, it will speed up, but I'll cover more on the mechanics of the actual thing itself. For those wanting a live display of why you cannot stay in the overworld, I am 2,500 blocks away from Origin. The world has just been booted up and I forced its speed to what happens when you stay in the overworld too long. And it's accelerating. If we use an amulet, we can track it. We can see how quick it's gaining up on us. And if it gets within about 300 blocks, you're in danger. So, there isn't too much to say here. Besides, you can craft the amulet with 4 gold, 1 diamond, 1 lapis, 1 emerald, 1 iron ingot, and 1 piece of redstone. Although, it's not terribly useful, but it's a nice cool utility to have. But, if you want this timer ticking down, I mean, go right ahead. It gets quicker and quicker, and it's even quicker in the actual gameplay. In the Nether now, we have a lot of things to cover, and a lot more to cover about the Wither Storm itself. First off, let's discuss how do you escape the Wither Storm, hypothetically if you were caught by it in a disadvantageous position, which is incredibly rare surprisingly. The best ways are Ender Pearls, Ender Pearl crossbows, only renders in your hotbar. You need to have an Ender Pearl in your offhand while loading up a crossbow to do that. Invisibility potions prevent you from being targeted in the first place. Same thing with shields, but that reduces movement speed but is incredibly cheap. Boats are a good way to negate the fall damage, and if you're, about to get caught, place on a boat, go in it, and then clutching is a complete joke. Shooting the heads works as well, but falling. Fireworks are only good in multiplayer, but in multiplayer they are pretty effective. Water and powder snow buckets are both ways to negate fall damage, but I do not recommend them that much. Then, TNT is, well, a very costly way to do it, only really viable in multiplayer, but it's much too expensive. Elytras requires going to the end, although it does completely negate the fall damage part, but going to the end is much too intense for this. You can block yourself in, but it's incredibly hard to do so, and if caught, you can melee the Wither Storm, but if you're in that situation, I mean, you've just done a bad job in the first place. Then, for the storm's phases, I'm just going to show you. They're all kinda simple, but after 5.5, you can fight a symbiote directly in 6, and I do recommend it to make Wither Sickness less annoying. And then, my general tips for fighting the Wither Storm in this mod. Although a lot of these are just survival tips. I'm going to be silent for a moment, so that way you can read them. Now, for our final thing, we need to know how to clip onto the nether roof. I understand some of y'all might think that this is cheating, and if so, that's completely fair. But you can clip through one thin bedrock, should be at block 127 if you use F3 on the side of your screen. And in order to do it, stand here, place a ladder, hold up, and throw an ender pearl. You clip on top, and if you have obsidian, then now you have an easy way to get away. Once you're in the nether though, get at least 2 blaze rods, so that way you can have that for the formidabomb, and then travel at least 2,500 blocks in the nether. Once you reach that, you can go back to the overworld. Once your nether expeditions are over, what you want to do is take a quick inventory recap in order to see if you have everything you want. So, this is just about what you need, and the reason why we have 2 normal diamonds is so that way they can be made into golden apple stews. In that case, you should also have at least 2 golden apples to do the said thing. If you have all these resources, perhaps a little more, then you should go back to the overworld. It's okay if you have full iron still, but once you go back in the overworld, you need to 1. Immediately go to the surface. Get to the surface as quick as you can, even if it's water. Because here's the thing. Although it seems far away now, it's going to be rapidly increasing in speed in order to catch up to you. Although, of course, I'm recording, so it's nowhere near as long. You should have spent around 4 to 6 hours in the nether. A little more, a little less is okay. But we want to go away. That's all you want to do. Get out your boat, go away, sprint. If you're on the nether roof, you shouldn't have been sprinting, you should have been walking to give it more time to build up in strength. But you just need to go away, because here's how the Wither Storm works. Once you stay still for too long, it accelerates. And that timer is around 30 minutes in the same 8x8 chunk area. And it takes around 5 minutes to slow down again. And the longer you stay still, the quicker it gets, until it's moving around 40-50 blocks per second. Naturally, that's very bad. So you want to just go away and scour the overworld, raid villages, raid structures, and make sure that you have 4 TNT, 4 blaze powder, and 8 gunpowder, because then we can get the nuke needed to disable it. Once you've scoured the overworld enough, you need to take note of one thing while you're exploring: mountains. Because mountains hold a very nice treasure under them. And it's not iron, it's not coal, it's skulk. We want to find a deep dark. Not to fight the warden, that would be a terrible plan. And not necessarily for the ancient cities, but those would be a nice bonus anyways. But for the skulk blocks themselves. The thing is, 1 skulk equals 1 XP. We can use that. From level 27, it takes around 1 1/3 iron hose to get to level 30 again, not including sensors or catalysts. So what we do is we go around and we mine and we get all enchanted stuff. Enchant your pickaxe first, because there's a good chance you unearth some diamonds while doing this, and then you can easily get full diamond armor. A little bit of lag is occurring because of course the wither storm is rather laggy, but we just want to be down here excavating skulk until the wither storm shows up from you being here too long. From there, make another portal, go maybe another 300 blocks or so, and then come back out again. Once you are done with the deep dark and you got some enchantments, the wither storm would almost definitely be ready. You can see over there, although it's actually just very hard to see, it's a little larger than normal. And that's exactly what we want. By this point, you should have roughly this gear right here. Full diamond is almost a necessity, however, I have been able to take down the symbiote using only iron, so, take that as you will. And, well, there isn't too much to say here, besides the fact that we are ready to fight the wither storm. So, right now, teleporting it to me, you can see it's, a lot larger. Although it's having a little bit of a brain aneurysm and can't really handle getting teleported long distances. But by this point, we should be getting a symbiont soon. The wither storm, kinda just could not handle getting teleported, so I had to straight up just summon a new one because it crashed my game and despawned itself. But once you know that it's approaching, dig down into the ground and just create a little bunker down here. All mobs will try running away from the storm. They are terrified of it. If you're on the surface, hold out your shield and you will not be targeted. Although you might accidentally get picked up, just keep holding your shield, and if you get too high, use an ender pearl to avoid fall damage. But eventually you'll hear a little pling noise as a withered symbiote, it's weird to pronounce. It's either a symbiote or a symbiote, I don't know which one it is, and it seems like there's 2 different spellings, so, please forgive me if it turns out there's actually one correct one. But just wait around under it. With due time, you will eventually encounter one of these, a withered symbiote. And it's a very scary mob, has 60 HP, will not take damage unless it's from the back, is immune to fire, is immune to falling, and otherwise is very annoying to deal with. And I have lost the majority of my runs on this dude. For reference, I've done over 100 in hardcore, and only one of them has been successful. So, thank this guy right here for delaying this video. But, in order to see how this guy works, going into survival, and this is why you'll need diamond armor. It'll do things like that, where it'll summon a lot of fireballs over itself. Its melee hit can one-hit a player in iron armor on hard, so essentially its melee is equivalent to a warden. It's kinda slow, but it can jump very high, and although it's being a little bit passive, probably because I'm not on hard, I'm on normal instead, still, this guy is not to be messed with, although many of his attacks are blockable with shields like that. But you do not want to mess with him, because, of course, if he's gonna pull out all these attacks, he can summon wither skulls that will deal 20 hearts in wither damage, that slam just took half my HP, pretty much. So, if you want to know how to win, you dig under him. Although, it's basically impossible to see here, so just giving myself some night vision. You just want to make tiny little peepholes on the surface and keep baiting attacks out of him. Because eventually, he will give up and start summoning monsters to fight. And these monsters are a pain to deal with. These creepers are charged creepers. Don't let their appearance lie to you. Although they will start infighting after a while because they don't have the best AI. So, essentially, take down the creepers, make sure you don't, die, and try not to leave it inactive for more than like 3 or so minutes. But, once you are ready, and there's not many mobs to stop you anymore, what you want to do is try boxing him in. Box him in like a fish, he's preparing to go to the market. And once he's boxed in, something really funny can be done. When this guy has been successfully boxed in like a fish, you want to go up to him, drink your strength potion. If you have a smite weapon, use that. If it has more than smite 3, it's probably better than your sword. Just do this. And you saw, I just decreased his HP half, bringing him to phase 2. And in phase 2, he gets a lot tougher. He will escape that thing. So, don't leave him in there too long. Don't rely on that. Although, he's not using any of his truly dangerous attacks in that. Potentially, if he does not escape, you can try sneaking up behind him. Or, he will just resummon mobs because his AI is confused. If he's boxed in still, you can sneak up behind him and make the finishing blow, which will summon an enchanted command block book in the air. With the symbiote now dead and your book in hand, if you did not get a book, you're kinda done for. Then, what you want to do is you have 5-minute invulnerability for killing the symbiote. So, if you're getting attacked again, and you know you're getting attacked because you can't move out of the tractor beam midair, that means your book despawned. So, place down a crafting table and repeat these instructions. Command block book in the middle, 4 gunpowder, super TNT. Then, I never seem to remember the correct order, surround that in this, now you get a formidable bomb. You can see that is going to detonate. So, make sure that you still have your flint and steel from earlier, you're still going to have to make nether portals anyways. Place it down, and then, once you've ignited it, start digging down or running away. I recommend digging down because although you won't see the amazing explosion it makes, it's just safer. Because it might, go too fast and just run over the thing. By the way, you need to go about 30 blocks down to escape it, but just dig until you find deep sweet. And then, you just wait for the explosion to happen. But, it will vacuum it up. If it does not vacuum it up, it would blow you up. But fortunately, that bug has been kinda solved. The more chromatic aberration you see on your screen, the closer it is to blowing. And you can see that everything's starting to look like 3D glasses effect, and it's about to blow. Normally I'd cut off for video time's sake, but this is truly a marvelous explosion. I've disabled some of the effects though. You can see, it's about to blow. Sniper rifle noise out of the way, this thing has now been properly disabled. You can see that it's about to split. It also got slightly taller, it seems. And now, in this state, it will now lay down. Although, it's having a little trouble because it's in water. Leave it like this for 10 minutes, even if you have wither sickness. With this storm disabled, you now have free roam over the overworld for about an hour. Although, I do not recommend doing that because if you already did the deep dark thing, then you should be powerful enough anyways. Even if you are very cautious, I still wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Although it normally wouldn't be underwater, still, you want to go up to it, and if you get within this little radius right here, it will re-engage. It will try pulling you in. Make sure to throw an ender pearl if you want to avoid fall damage, but potentially it can get very deep. And you can see, I'm I'm also taking a little bit of, drowning down here. But once you make it up, then it also wakes up. It's very scary again, and now it's significantly more destructive. Welcome to Phase 6. In this form, it will soon be able to summon another symbiont if you want to conserve your golden apple stew. If you are smart about this, then you should have already taken a little bit of rotten flesh from the thing itself, or wither roses, or withered bones. These can be made into golden apple stew. Although, if you're a little frazzled after this, it's perfectly okay to go and make another portal, because potentially it might just not summon one. Although the guide for this thing says it should summon another one, I'm a little skeptical about that. You have 3 minutes invincibility from the storm after this, so you have to make your choice quick. This stage, Phase 6, is able to summon a withered symbiont after some time, or I'm pretty sure that timer does tick down while it is asleep or playing dead. But one thing you may have noticed, unless you are playing like a speedrunner, you will have wither symbiont. You can see the body's pulsing in purple. That means over time, my max HP is going to drain. If you are not going to fight this symbiont immediately, then go to the nether and let it eat away at your HP for maybe about an hour. Once you're getting low, or within 3 hearts of death, then eat your stew, which is crafted like this: fish stew, golden apple, diamond, and any of these 3 wither objects. They can all be used interchangeably, and they all produce the same product. Eat this, and as long as you're away from the wither storm, preferably in the nether, or inside of it technically, I wouldn't recommend it, spend buggy for me. Then, 5 to 11 minutes, you'll be cured and all your max HP will be back. But try fighting the symbiont immediately after if possible. We have the final phase of the wither storm, and everything is a mess. It's raining, 9 tractor beams, and everything is being utterly destroyed at an alarming rate. So, that means the wither storm is almost dead. By this point, you should have fought your second symbiont, and if you have, place down a smithing table. If you have a diamond sword, do this. Place your diamond sword inside a smithing table, then an enchanted command block book, and that will turn it into a command block sword. If you're playing the 1.20 version, I know this is still 1.19, but it's been confirmed, roughly, I'm pretty sure, that you can do this with an anvil and not a smithing table next time. So, a little bit of making sure this doesn't get outdated. In this form, infinite durability, it heals instantly back to full, deals 10 damage, can still be enchanted, although sometimes it's a little annoying. Wait around 15 minutes holding this. Well, you don't have to be holding it, but it needs to be in your inventory. 15 minutes in the overworld or the nether, I'd recommend nether, and something will happen to allow you to get into the final phase. After a while of holding this a hole has appeared on its head. You must get inside the wither storm. And there's a variety of ways to do this: flying machine, minecart with a lot of speed, and yeah, we aren't going to be smart about that because that is just unrealistic. At this point, finally let the wither storm get its tractor beam on, which is going to be scary. But what you want to do, put ender pearl in your offhand, like that, and then load it up into your crossbow. You can see its arm. And now we wait until we go up. Once you think you're close enough, ensure that you're roughly halfway to the storm's mouth. Shoot your crossbow. If you did it right, you should be inside and immediately attacked by monsters. So keep that in mind, that it might attack you while you're still loading in. So try keeping your HP at max so you don't have an embarrassing death. Welcome to the bowels. In here, we have a macabre display of a lot of monsters on the ceilings and walls, and a surprising amount of loot hidden around. You can see already one piece of chest hidden inside some random stuff. And, well, there's a lot of spawners in here. You can get a ton of XP for all your enchanting needs from the spawners located inside here. Wither sickness is plentiful in here, but if you entered without it, and you aren't getting afflicted by it, so essentially you speedrun getting inside, then you're safe to roam around. But there are a lot of passages to explore, occasionally some TNT, and remember, every room has a chest pretty much. So always keep searching. If you find a room with Skulk, not this one, but there's another one like this, then you will find 3 chests all next to each other. So you just keep searching around for whatever you need. There's even some golden apples too. But once you're ready, go to the center of the place. You'll know because there's a command block. And place down some platforms under both of these heads, around 7 by 7. Once you are ready with the heads platformed like that, walk up to the command block with a little bridge like this, then if you have music enabled, the music will get very intense, and you'll be batted away if you are in survival. If it does not bat you away, jump off, because that's considered an entity, and you will just be flung into that pit right there. You'll get resistance 5 so you don't die of fall damage, but you will fall on the Wither Storm, and you do not get any resistance, I'm pretty sure, from actually just getting sucked up instead. So be careful. The first phase of this boss fight just summons some mobs. Take out all the mobs, and that's about it. But remember, you need a shield. Put on your shield, and this is exactly why you'll need your shield. So, going into survival here, you can see it will try to bat you away. Without a shield, you'll end up just getting flung all the way across the room and take significant amounts of damage. This next phase, all the tentacles wake up, it summons more monsters, and then it summons a symbiont. This symbiont has only half the HP, and if you do it right, you can potentially get it to just jump into the pit. Although that is very, very unreliable. I had to get so insanely lucky for that to happen. But it's possible to do. But be careful about the tentacles. This is a fight of situational awareness after all. Once excluding the tentacles, those are just a waste of arrows to take out, are slain, or dropped into that pit. Hit the command block once. It follows the same behavior. But now in its final phase, you'll understand why we have these platforms. You can safely ignore the mobs now because you have a much bigger threat, those heads. So try getting sucked up by those heads. Make sure you don't get grabbed by the tentacles. These things are immune to everything except the command block weapons, so you have to be quick about this. Once you take it out, go do the same thing to the other head. You'll notice these things are shielded to block, which means you just aren't able to kill them. So, you need to take out both heads, and then, just to be safe, once you're on this platform, bridge out a little like this. I'm just flying to demonstrate. Throw an ender pearl and quickly whack the block. You can see, now it's starting to explode. With this storm successfully defeated, you should fall right out of it, and, well, I got unlucky and just got teleported to world spawn. So I guess I take back what I said at the beginning, because you might just straight up lose the star to that means. But once you have this, you can turn it into a wither beacon, and that will be demonstrated in the guide in the description. It's a little complicated to figure out the beacon, but let's just say you need a lot of things, and 3 wither skulls will resummon the wither. But with that, the mod is completed. It's a very tough mod, and since you made it this far, I guess I can give you a couple of tips for making it so far. The symbiont can be taken out by charged creeper / withered creeper, but it is incredibly hard to take out. But I have seen it happen once, so if you're feeling a little risky, you can potentially try it. And if you fail, chances are it's not even going to wake up because, you know, the weak point on the back. But if you do it, it's very profitable, so it's worth a shot. Also, this mod is notoriously difficult. So, you know, you have to spend a lot of tries. You're going to spend a lot of hours on this if you're doing it hardcore. I can safely say I've spent over half a year and 100 attempts on this mod in order to make it this far. So, I hope this video was of help to you. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Even if you didn't enjoy this, or you need more assistance, just comment down below and I'll be sure to help you. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw